restaurants and most big chains have developed from the first restaurant. And most of them come from, well, not most, all of them really come from a good idea and a good backyard kitchen. But only a few manage to move ahead. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is always on the basis of a very, very sound and systematic approach to business. And amongst other things which are required to standardize and do in the front, the operations part, which is fundamental to keeping the customer there, the more important part beyond this is the backyard, the supply chain. While we are looking towards future trends, innovation, what should be done in today's environment, it's an important thing that at today's stage, when we are looking at chains that are taking their first steps out, are we looking towards our supply chains? Are we looking at developing them, investing in the future? These are difficult decisions because from somewhere where we start from, we pick on costs that sometimes do not permit us to immediately go in for what currently seems to be a more expensive proposition. But if we look at the history of success, we do see that most chains do end up succeeding only and only when they develop sound supply chains. And we have examples in Delhi and in other parts of India where relatively sound businesses that should have become national level or rather international level businesses have just gone down the road because they did not invest in supply chains. So these are the difficult decisions. They do need management commitment. And I am going a little away from innovation and trend setting to first focus on a supply chain because that is the fundamental on which a business and its core menu offering is going to get established in the market. Beyond the settling of a core business proposition and the setting up of the initial bits and pieces of a chain is going to be the need to look at innovation and look at trends. Restaurant chains over a period of time have had to reinvent themselves, expand their menus to look at various categories that they do not offer, and typically, look at moving into other areas. For example, moving into breakfast for McDonald's is one big expansion of the market that business has evolved. What is the effect of the entry of coffee chains? Well, 20, 30 years back, we did not have coffee chains, and we did not have a coffee business. But the evolution of a Starbucks and consequently the coffee business in India has an impact on each one of our businesses, and the customer's expectation of a coffee changes. So we do need to understand what are the large and underlying trends that affect us, and whether it is health or it is lifestyle, it's a cross-pollination of cultures. All these have to be taken into effect, but they can only be affected if there is a sound supply chain. Any idea of this nature will have to go through various stages, and very frequently we go into something which is not well researched, is not having proper marketing insight. Then we might have a lot of money being spent on that product or commercialization, which will be of no use. But of course, we must remember that it all starts from a market insight. And from a market insight, it should lead to ideation, product development, and thereafter commercialization. So 4 very clear steps that every business must evolve. It should not be a haphazard activity, and innovation is required, no doubt, but it needs an organized approach. And every business will have to find its own ways and means of doing that. Supply chains will help, because somewhere, if you are running a 50-restaurant chain, and if you don't have a supply chain, then don't expect every kitchen to do the same, no matter what. Whether it may be, just the supply of a single spice blend, but some bit of standardization and internal work, depending on the scope and size of the operations, will really have to be thought out. And I can only say that this is the need of the hour, because you can expect businesses to gross maybe up to 50% from brand extensions. So brand extensions could be a breakfast for a restaurant chain. It could be the launch of a new coffee business. It could be a dessert offering at the end of the meal, which most restaurants don't do. And as you see, organized chains would develop these into sub-brands. And a smaller chain might bring them on as specials. So, and this is really, something that almost every business needs to do, day in and day out. And we do it in our own businesses, and it's very visible on the tables in front of you. We have an example of a very floundering business that wasn't going anywhere for almost 10 years, and it's placed on a platform of only innovation and ideation that goes with today's trends that were not identified by people. And we picked on it early on. It took us almost 1 year to develop this, of the Opera chips, and place it in the market. And it's given us rave reviews. And we really draw analogies from various sides, whether it's from restaurants and apply it to our business. And businesses, restaurant businesses could also take on trends from other segments of society and develop their businesses from there on.